Good day. Welcome to another episode of I'm a Gents podcast. I'm your host, Captain P, with my fellow brothers here, Tinas and Joe. And welcome to another episode, another week in this month of December. The year is almost over. A couple of weeks away from Christmas, 13 days from Christmas. Are you guys getting ready? All your Christmas presents, the Christmas celebrations, the Christmas chicken, Christmas coleslaw from back home, the rice, or whatever you have, your turkey or prawns.
You just had to put in the coleslaw.
Yeah. We're here for a couple of more weeks too before Christmas. But let's get into it. Let's get started. You know the drill. We always have fun, have some informative discussions. Joe, Tinas, how's it been everything the last couple of weeks?
Oh, I've been busy, man, doing some Christmas shopping.
No, that's
Yeah,
A lot of
busy.
marmalade jam and and butter.
lots of marmalade, jam, and butter. As they
Yeah.
say, that's the tradition. You start with your bread in the morning, your tea, and you move into the chicken and rice. It's a
Yeah.
day of eating. So for the next 2 weeks, if you want to do lots of intermittent fasting, start it now so that you leave space for hectic feasting on Christmas Day.
Don't forget the mafet kuko amagunya.
I'm agree. And the fat cooks. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so let's delve into our usual topics. You know how we roll here. We always like to talk about a few things in terms of sports, news, and what's happening. So obviously we'll start with the world's famous league, which is the Premier League. There's my man at the bottom there, Joe. He's got a big smile. Liverpool is now sitting at the top of the table. After Man United resoundingly beat Tina's Chelsea, we brought one of the worst performances ever. I remember sleeping at 3 a.m. talking to my mates on this other group chat, and everyone was just like, man, our team is bloody horrible.
Yeah, I feel the same sentiments, bro. But I think at this point we're even worse.
Yeah, I think the teams, both Chelsea and Liverpool and Man U, yeah, they really need something extraordinary to come out of the slump. Surprisingly, with Man U, even with bad results, we're actually sitting sixth, which is shocking everyone. 6 points behind Man City, 10 points behind Liverpool at the top of the league. So you never know if things shape up, if we can go on a good run of games. You never know, we can creep into the top four. The surprise package of everyone, I believe, is Aston Villa, sitting at number 3, beating both Arsenal and Man City in the same week. Have you guys watched some of the highlights of Aston Villa, which is the surprise package?
I didn't get a chance to watch that, but shows that they are pulling their weight in the top 5 there.
The top 5, I think them and Liverpool in the last 5 games, they've got the best form, unbeaten in 5 games, both them and Liverpool. 1-4, drew 1. The next team in form would be, surprisingly, Man United, 3 wins out of 5. And then Arsenal as well, 4 wins out of 5. So there's a few teams which are surprising. I don't think Man City will win. I think after winning the treble last season, it's pretty hard to motivate yourself after winning everything to come back again. But you never know, with Man City, they can go on a 15-game winning streak like they did the last few seasons. They always come back after Christmas strong and better. What are your thoughts on the current Man City crisis?
I think players are quite demotivated, I think, because of the saga, including the groups, those penalties, those fines. Have they gone through, or it's just still
The potential charges which are there are potential charges which may affect a few things in their near future. But I think what you're talking about, demotivation, comes back to the point of them winning the treble, winning everything which was available. I think it's something which was historic, and, picking yourself up to do the same thing over again, and winning the last 4 or 5 Premier Leagues, it really takes refreshing, changing the squad again. And I think they really didn't change over the squad like what you'd expect from a championship winning team, trying to sell off a few of the older players, but we'll see how we go. We'll see if they resurrect themselves in January. Hopefully Chelsea will do that, sitting at 12th after spending $1 billion, $2 billion.
What's happening with Chelsea? Is it still playing or they are just giving up?
Oh, we'll leave that.
Look, man, I think what's happening here is a case of the team still trying to gel itself, the coach trying to do things. I don't know how much the management is in on the daily running of the team, but it just feels like something is not being done. It just feels like there's something missing, and we've not been able to address what's the root cause of why we're missing. Because if you watch almost all of the games, first thing that happens is we play good, and then we end up just fizzling out. Two, we create opportunities that are not being converted. So it's very clear. If we can see that from a layman's eyes, from the layman's perspective, why can't they see that? Like it's very clear. These are professionals. So there must be something that is blocking them being able to make moves that guarantee the win. I think a few episodes ago, I once alluded to the fact that if you're going to spend $1 billion on players, why are you not willing to spend $200 million on a star player that will ensure you get the goals, or at least even spend $250 million for 2-3 players that you know they're going to sit in midfield, that you know they're going to sit in the front, and they'll guarantee you goals because already the midfield is all right, the defense is all right, but it's just the front element of it, the attacking midfielders, the people who score the goals that are just not, bringing home the goals, and that's what we need.
Are you saying Nico Jackson is not good enough?
He is good enough, but he's not delivering. He's not delivering. And then at this point in time, we're at a point where we're going to analyze on what you're supposed to be doing and what you're actually doing. So if you are a striker and if you're not bringing in the goals, we're asking you, where are the goals? If you are an attacking midfielder and you're not present in the midfield, and you're not present in the scoring of goals, then what are you doing? Why are you getting that paycheck? These are the questions that we need to start asking. They let go of, what's this guy from AC Milan?
Giroud?
No. Inter Milan, sorry, what's his name? No, it's AC Milan. This guy.
Lukaku?
No. This guy they let go. They didn't want to renew his contract. I'm forgetting his name.
Okay. Those are the people I've known who've gone to Italy from Chelsea, this one.
No, man, this young guy, this Portuguese guy. Anyway, they let him go. They didn't want to renew his contract, but at least he had a spark in that attacking midfield position. He didn't get as much goals as we would have wanted him to get. But look, man, he had something that was going, and that element has been missing from day one. And to be honest, at this point in this type of league, you need to place the right blocks where they're needed. If it's a midfielder, we need a midfielder. We don't want someone who potentially plays midfield. We need a midfielder. If it's a striker, we need a top-notch striker who we know is going to score the goals, beyond doubt. And that's what Chelsea is missing. If they're okay with having a young squad that is going to deliver after 2-3 years, after gelling up, what have you, then that's okay. We shouldn't hear them saying, "Oh, we said Pochettino, oh, we did this," because that's their game plan. But for us, the supporters, we're always there to ask for points, my guy. We need the points, my guy.
That was me a few weeks ago.
Oh, jeez, man.
He's gotten it off his chest.
Oh, my God, man. We need people, bro. We need people to score.
I didn't even message him last week when we beat him. It was just obvious we were going to beat them, and I was just so quiet. I was just like, why?
Yeah, I thought all the rage is coming from Man U slaughtering them.
Oh, guys, when you see us quiet, we're dying inside, man.
Nah, that's all good. That's all good. So, yeah, that's the Premier League season at the moment. Newcastle, I think Newcastle has gone through a bad spell, lost the last 2 games. I was laughing with some of the mates saying that their Champions League final was against Man United, when they beat us at St. James's Park. They've lost 2 on the bounce. So we'll see how they go. They're sitting on 7th, a point behind Man U. But again, both these clubs need European football to be in line with FFP, the fair financial rules, which are there in football at the moment. Both these clubs do need European football, and they're both sitting out of European football. Moving on to La Liga, we've got the surprise package Girona. We briefly touched on Girona. They're sitting 2 points ahead of Real Madrid, and they spanked Barcelona resoundingly at home, beating Barcelona 4-2. Again, that's part of the City group, the Man City group, Sheikh Mansour's group, and they're doing well. They've bought well. They've got a young coach, tactical coach, and you can see that they are taking some of Pep's ideas. I think Pep is the godfather of this whole Man City City group coaching tree now. And you can see that they're taking some of their footballing moves for Girona. But that's good, I think, for La Liga, because people are always used to hearing Barcelona, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid. And it's good to have teams like Girona and Atletico Madrid at number 3, interfering, being the disruptors of the big boys, particularly with Diego Simeone. I think a lot of people don't like his football style and his behavior, but I think he's built a culture in the last, 10 years now he's been there, of a hard-working, aggressive, dogfight team. You wouldn't want to face them in a Champions League group stage or knockout round because, they might pull out a surprise. Any thoughts on Real Madrid and Barcelona struggles at the moment? I know Tinas is still breathing after ranting and raving.
He's still processing the Chelsea quagmire there.
He's still
I still have points.
You still want to take us back to Chelsea? We'll do that next time.
No, we'll do that next time.
Look, as I said, the La Liga season is interesting. Same again in the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga, you've got Bayer Leverkusen, which are top, and Bayern Munich lost 5-1 over the weekend. And they're coming to Old Trafford tonight, and they'll be a wounded animal. So I don't feel confident watching that game this morning or tomorrow morning, our time here. So, yeah, a lot of things happening in football.
I think, coming to Barcelona, like you see the last game that they had with Girona, the mistake, I think it lies down with the manager because he was playing more of a defensive, whilst Girona was on fire.
Yeah, Girona was aggressive, was the aggressor.
Because, they were playing that 4-3-3, which is more stronger in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Girona took advantage of that.
Yeah, yep. Very, very true points. Because I think with Girona's style of play, they rotate some of their midfielders, and the way they line up in a 3-4-2-1, having 3 defenders and 4 midfielders and 3 attackers, basically a 3-4-3, so which allows a lot of fluidity at the top and overloads the midfield, which affected Barcelona. Something similar to what Pep is doing with Man City, or what made Man City win last season, where they were playing that 3-4-3 and overloading the midfield. So it's an interesting season in La Liga. So let's keep our eyes on the La Liga season. So that's it for our usual sports section. In the NBA, the Lakers won the NBA in-season tournament, which is like their NBA's FA Cup. LeBron James winning the MVP. So I think that's what the NBA wanted. Their poster boy, their face of the league, winning the trophy, the first in-season tournament, and being the face and being the MVP, of that tournament. And I think the Lakers were undefeated all the way. I think they were only motivated for that. And listening to LeBron, he wanted to win it for his teammates, which is a good thing because I think each player was getting 500,000. I don't think 500,000 would do a lot to change LeBron's life, but some of the players were on lesser contracts. can make a huge difference to them. So that shows
which tournament was this?
NBA in-season tournament.
Yeah.
500K.
Yeah, for each player if they won.
Yeah, not bad, bro. Jump into that Lamborghini Urus, bro.
Yeah, that's it. So for some of the guys on, not long-term contracts or, some of those game-to-game contracts, that makes a big difference to them. So I think that was good for LeBron, good for the league. I think in the next few years, that can be used as one of the greatest of all times in the NBA argument that Michael Jordan never won an NBA in-season tournament. You know how history is rewritten? 10, 15 years down the line. Come on,
mate. Did they have it back then?
No, they didn't.
No.
But some people will add it to say, oh, LeBron was the first NBA in-season tournament winner. You know, how the GOAT argument can just evolve into different things, Some people use the Air Jordan as an iconic sneaker to show why Michael Jordan is the greatest, because LeBron's sneaker has failed. But again, that's what people are always trying to nitpick to win their argument for that, who's the greatest in the NBA. I believe you can't talk about the NBA without talking about people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like Magic Johnson. But I think Michael Jordan was fortunate. It was in the transition where news was moving faster in the early 90s, the inception of cable TV, and he was fortunate enough to have that publicity just when information and technology is changing. So, and they could write the history that he wanted. But again,
I would also come in and say it's also fortunate that LeBron got into an time where the element of sports science was also coming into play, where, people are now being asked to score more, have more rebounds, score more twos, score more threes, score more this. Of course, I would say the best person who obviously benefited from sports science was someone like Steph Curry, who would just do the threes. He perfected the 3-point game, less contact, more points for the team, But obviously, people like LeBron, when you then look at how he plays and how Michael Jordan played, there's obviously a more drive for the points for a person like LeBron than Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan had the flair. He played for the love of the game, whereas LeBron is a pure athlete. He's playing that competitive game and getting that those needed points. So I feel like you can never really compare those two people, though obviously I would, if ever I'm asked, not that you're asking
Jordan.
me,
You'd say Jordan.
If ever I'm asked, Jordan is obviously the greatest because people like LeBron played basketball because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
Yeah,
I think for us, our generation, he's the GOAT. It's what we understood. That's the bias we've got. The younger generation now, when they're 12, 13, our sons who are now getting into teenage, they know LeBron James. So to them, LeBron will be their GOAT.
Yeah, but they're wearing Michael Jordans, bro.
Yeah, but they still want to get a Jordan.
Just tell them that. Just make sure you remind them that they're wearing Michael Jordan.
Yeah, my son is talking about LeBron James, but he's saying, I want Jordans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the GOAT argument will always rage on. We can spend the whole day talking about Michael Jordan 6-0 in the NBA Finals, LeBron going to straight NBA Finals and winning only 4, and he's losing 6. So, but anyway, but he's the leading in points, and I don't think anyone will overtake that record. It might take 50 years for someone else to break that record at the pace he's going. And then in year 21, he's still arguably the best player. Michael Jordan didn't get to year 21. He took a break in between. So there's a lot of factors. If you really want to go and nitpick, I'm a Jordan. I'll say Jordan is the GOAT. But when you want to start to nitpick, you can see that LeBron has got an opportunity to overtake him if he can win another championship in the next 2 years. Because that means we'd have won his 5th championship in his 23rd year, leading scorer, leading in points.
Captain P, here's the thing. if you do something, reach accolades simply because you're good at what you're doing, versus somebody who's going to reach accolades because they're chasing after you, there's a difference. The reason is he wants to be the best because he recognizes who is better than him. The only reason why he's chasing after those accolades are simply because he has somebody to beat. Exactly. And that alone settles everything. You can only be the best if you beat the best.
So
but before he beats the best, he needs to acknowledge that there's somebody who is the best.
Okay. We'll continue this discussion another day. It's another one. Look, as I said,
finish and clear.
Yeah. The Jordan fanatics, they'll tell you that. They'll tell you finish in class. So no, we'll continue in that discussion. I think it's another one we need to discuss. As we head off to our main topic of the evening, some sad news coming out of South Africa at the time of recording is the passing of South African musician Sahara, well known for her album Loliwe and one of her popular songs with DJ Sibu Lengoma. I think she was a very talented musician, and I think there's a few issues which happened in the last few years. You know, allegations of how she was mishandled by her management, high level of alcoholism. But again, it's pretty sad. Young talent at 35, lose her life before the end of the year. Wish the family condolences. I don't know if you gentlemen enjoyed some of her music. Yeah, if, over the years, if it's just not your genre.
Yeah, not my, cup of tea, but she was really good. Even if I don't really like the music, I appreciate talent. She was excellent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tina's, any thoughts?
We definitely jammed to some of the music. I think some point back when she came to Zim, we actually did go for a concert. I thought she was a brilliant artist. Obviously shocked by her lack of, following through on what she had started. But like people want to say there were issues there, perhaps how she was managed, perhaps how everything else was managed. But again, we just go by what social media is saying. And it just seems like there were problems in the camp from day one. And yeah, it's quite sad. But yeah, life goes on, yeah.
Life goes on. So condolences to the family. Once we have more information, we can talk about that in our next episode about the cause of death. Again, it's something which has happened in the last few hours before our recording of this podcast. Again, condolences to the family. She was a good talent at the young age of 35. All right. So moving on. So Alex Jones, the conspiracy man, is returned on Twitter. Does this mean he'll be returned on YouTube and other social media platforms which banned him? Or it's just Elon Musk pulling the middle finger to the establishment?
Yeah.
I think this one is purely Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think it's purely just pulling the middle finger to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking about Elon Musk, did you see the interview about Disney? I'm sorry to sidetrack here a little.
The advertiser saying,
yeah.
Okay,
so maybe we can talk about it a little after Alex Jones.
I saw that one.
Yeah, I think Alex Jones. Look, I think people call him a conspiracy theorist or a madman, but some of the things which he's pointed out, people agree with it, and I don't think banning someone. I know some of the statements which he made about the Sandy Hook were very unfortunate, and I think he regrets them. I think he said that publicly. But I think banning him completely, deplatforming, is basically like dehumanizing him. To say that you're not enough to be a human because we don't agree with what you're saying. Fight the argument. I think that's what I always lean on the other side of politics, which is to the right side of politics, because you're allowed to say whatever you are, whatever you think. You have to have the element of fighting the argument intellectually. But I think the other side of politics is, let's shut you down. We don't want to listen to you. You should be deplatformed, But I think, what Elon Musk is doing, in the lead up to this 2024 election, one of the critical elections of our generation, having the biggest platform. I don't think there'll be a platform which can come up in the next, 6 months to take over Twitter. So all these big companies will need to tweet their information and tweet their, policies. So I think he's controlling the narrative at the moment, but I don't think that will last long, because I think Apple, if things continue this way, Apple might say we're deplatforming Twitter. That's my feeling. Like what they did to those other Gab and other platforms.
Wow, interesting.
There was another platform that was deplatformed from Apple during the 2020 elections.
I think that was Gab.
Was it
Yeah,
Parler or something like that?
No, Parler, exactly. Parler, yeah.
Gab.
Parler was deplatformed there. So, as I said, I think that's the next straw, because I don't think they can really remote control him. That's why he's got the guts to sit in a public forum and tell big advertisers, Disney, CNN, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Which is confidence. He's confident in himself, confident in what he can do.
I feel he had to do it, because if he didn't do it, it would have meant that he's playing ball. But at that, on that table of the big wigs, it's either, you stand your ground, or people will take advantage of your situation. So the fact that Disney had openly said they're going to pull out, and by them saying that, they wanted other people to move with them. So he had to come out right and just dispel everything and say, listen, it's okay if you go, and F you if you think we care. And that alone has now, in actual fact, worked against Disney, because a lot of people, I was listening to a podcast that was speaking about how Disney, because of the way they've decided to put certain characters, that were traditional characters, now they're seemingly portraying certain things that are now being pushed by the main,
By the woke agenda.
Exactly, about gender and all these things. There are a lot of parents who are walking away from Disney. And then the podcast was actually speaking about how they don't realize that parents are the ones who control when kids go to Disney, or how the money is spent in Disney. So instead of them only trying to reach the children, they actually need the buy-in of the parents. So there's a lot of actually like a sort of apathy towards Disney that has been happening apparently. And Disney, I think Apple is actually trying to buy off some, I don't know if they're trying to buy off shares, because apparently Disney is now breaking apart the company, trying to sell off this in a bid to try and remain with control, but at the same time trying to get in money to sustain them. So yeah, it's quite interesting that they're having to face that. So it works in Elon Musk's favor now that he said, F you, the small people that are going to, sort of just leave Disney, and they have to be very careful how they do it.
Yeah, I think there's this woke agenda of, shoving particular agendas, or issues down people's throats. People accept people as they are. I don't think shoving it. I think even we recently saw at some of these Premier League fixtures, captains' armbands had to be in particular colors or a particular group. I think it's really, just ticking down people's craw. And yeah, let's just be honest about it. It's just an agenda which is just a bit irritating now. People know that there are people out there. We've moved on. Let us be. We just want to enjoy a movie. We want to enjoy a TV show. I think we raised that either one of the black actors is gay, or is particular, there must be a gay person, a black person, and what this and what that, There are some shows which we just enjoy, even though they were predominantly white characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just let them be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like every turn there's a need to reinforce a certain narrative.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is, nobody ever, for that narrative of heterosex, or it's quite interesting that nobody has ever done that, but then they feel the need that they need to pump in billions of dollars into a campaign that would make people sway. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Look, we everyone believes in equality of all, but I don't think, shoving it down people's minds or down people's throat, it will actually create a resentment towards a said group, said race, said nationality. And then it's actually defeating the purpose of what you want to achieve. Make people aware that there's, injustice against XYZ, there's issues against XYZ, and let people make that conscious decision based on what their intellect is saying. I don't know, Joe, I think you want to add something?
No, I just wanted to come back to the issue that it boils down to the nucleus family being destroyed. And with all these agendas pushed in, it means that the family union becomes weak and they can easily control. So to some extent, it's working in the favor of the underworld that's, or deep state, what I call it, that's controlling the whole, notion of things. So coming back to Alex Jones, he's been saying a lot around, that notion of there being some superhumans controlling somewhere, somehow, and everything that you see is propaganda. In the news, on the TV, there is a certain, narrative that they're trying to push towards, achieving. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, most of these so-called conspiracy theories have always come true at some point, or at a larger percentage have always come true. So it's, I don't know, it's a give or take. Is it really a conspiracy theorist, or is it really just saying things that other people don't want or are not prepared to be listening to, or they're not prepared to understand?
Yeah. I think...
because it's not mainstream. Yeah, because it's not mainstream, it's conspiracy until it's proven correct. Like there's this other guy, David Icke. You remember when he was talking about the COVID, that they're going to lock down people. And people were saying he's a conspiracy theorist. And then it happened.
Yeah.
Like he predicted.
Exactly. And even just more people who were saying more and more vaccinations are coming, and people didn't listen.
Yes.
And it happened.
Yeah, because I think when the COVID came out, he did highlight to say you're going to need a certain pass for you to travel. It was mentioned. He mentioned it because I think, as I said, I think there's an African saying that a mad person can tell you 10 times that a war is coming, but the one time you don't want to listen, that's the truth. That's the time with the truth. So
that's when the war comes.
That's when the war comes. So I think David Icke, said a lot of things about lizard creatures or lizard men and all that stuff. People always thought he was crazy, but when he was talking about COVID, he spoke about it and said, you're not going to be allowed to talk about another narrative on the news. If you talk about it, you're going to get cancelled. He spoke about the vaccine, that you're going to have a vaccine which is going to be quickly made without any proper testing. That happened. You're going to need to get a pass if you need to travel from one point to another or leave your house. That happened. All happened within a space of 9 months.
Yeah. So it always makes you question what is truth and what is not. But definitely what has happened in the last 2-3 years should somehow sway you into starting to want to listen to what other people are saying.
You listen to other people, what they're saying, and then you wait and say, right, he said it at that time. Now we can reference to say David Icke said it at that time.
Yeah.
He was deplatformed. He was another one who was deplatformed. Alex Jones was saying that, but he had his own InfoWars platform. So just need to be mindful of that it's need to be open
Do you remember? There used to be this guy. I'm forgetting his name. Yeah, he used to have this show, this about conspiracy theories. This guy, you always used to have a ponytail. This big guy. What is his name? I'm forgetting his show. But this guy also said a few things that actually did eventually happen. He did bring out a few things.
Are you talking about Russell Brand?
Getting his name, but I think he's the guy. It was used to have a leather jacket and a ponytail.
Yeah, he does.
He does wear the leather jacket and ponytail.
Yeah. So I think these conspiracy theories have always been coming in, but we were just not prepared because he did speak about things that are now happening or that have been coming out to light. The one thing that I really remember was this idea of weather modification, where they use apparently they do have a station somewhere, I think in Alaska or somewhere, that eats up the ionosphere. And then in doing that, they can manage to, depending on where they heat it up or how they heat it up, they can manage to control what sort of weather happens in a certain area. So I think we have been seeing a lot of crazy weather happening in different countries, whether it's floods that cannot be explained, or whether it's ice in South Africa that they'd never seen. And just crazy amounts of weather that's happening. And you just begin to wonder, wow, was that really true?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Quite interesting. Yeah. So as I said, this is what's been happening in the world of news and current affairs. But as we wrap up, we just want to briefly talk about this topic, a few minutes, the issue of mental health, particularly male mental health and male suicide. We've seen some of the stats across Australia that, particularly in Australia, about 2,500 men in 2019 took their lives. And there was a bit of a jump in 22, 23, about 10% of increase of male suicide. This is from the Australian Men's Health Forum. And I think looking at other stats is in terms of percentage between males and females, it's much more a higher number of males attempting suicide and actually fulfilling that. And I think it's a lack of us men opening up to each other, having an outlet to talk. What are your thoughts about that, gentlemen?
I think it's mainly the culture around us men not opening up like to anyone, not amongst our friends, but to everyone. You find that if you've got things that are eating you alive, you tend to keep them inside you, and they keep, it's like boiling a frog with a slow heat. And then when it becomes overwhelming, that's when people don't know what to do and they end up committing, suicide. And the system has got limited support structures for men. Like, for example, here in Western Australia, if you move around, you see fewer men's sheds compared to women's shelter.
Yeah,
I rarely saw a men's shelter.
Yeah, I think it's generally a combination of things where there's been an advancement in support for a certain species or certain gender, and then there's no support at all for the next. So what you find is there's a lot of different forms of support for the first gender. And then when you look at the next, there's nothing. So basically the same thing could happen to a man that happens to a woman, but the woman is the first to receive help, is the first to get that sort of support that they need, and is even pushed further to even things like opportunity at work, opportunity everywhere. You find some companies now in any sort of position that's available in the company, they will first of all consider how many women have applied versus how many men. Even though the men are qualified to take that job, there's going to be consideration about how many women have applied and can we give them that, only to satisfy those who intend on having that sort of balance in the workplace or in the lifestyle that we live. But it's just quite sad. If at all there's an agenda that needs to be pushed, and if it all comes in the name of equality, then the only thing they need to be doing is showing equality. Because there's no way you can speak about equality and that you are taking down one side and bringing up the next.
Yeah, I think as you both have alluded, I think it's the lack of our own men's shed. I think, women, or if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, you can tell your missus or partner 10 times that I don't want you to talk about our personal problems, but somehow, some way, they'll find one of their outlets to share what's happening in the in the home. And you as a man, you really can't really do that. You can't really go to your boys and say, brother, this is what's happening to me. Have you faced this in your place? And I think particularly from a cultural perspective of an African culture, I think it's taboo to pretty go to another male and say, in my house, I'm
facing this, my guy.
In my house, I'm facing this karate. Yeah. When I walk in the door, I'm given a kick on the chin. And I think,
but it's quite sad though when you put it that way, because I don't know what it is, because most of the times you'll find that it's the guys who then turn against their own. It's almost like they turn against their own and eat them up. Like, if I'm to come to you and say, listen, my guy, I think I caught my wife doing this. Instead of you saying, you know what, let's find out, or let's do this, or support me, you are going to say, no, don't worry. I think it's nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. But probably you already know that something is happening, but you just won't tell me. So, it's things like this that all will always come back to bite us, because but you just won't say it simply because I don't know whether you want to support the women or you want to be, said to be the cool guy. I don't know what it is, but yeah, we fail each other, and it always comes to bite. Unfortunately, it always comes to bite you back, because what you do to others will always come back to you.
Yeah, it's a mixture of a lot of things. Some statistics are here, despite the race, culture or creed, it's saying that 1 in every 3 domestic violence is actually perpetrated against a man.
Oh, yeah.
So you find that about 33% of men, of the reported DVs, are men, but underneath that iceberg, you find that almost 60% of men, they don't report domestic violence. So there is unreported. Out of that 33%, there is more that are not reported at all. Because if you go to your workmates, your tradie workmates, and say, guys, my wife is giving me a boot, they'll be laughing at you.
Yeah.
So the next thing is you're not going to tell anybody.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you know what that always ends up to? It ends up to domestic violence against the initial perpetrator. And then only then will it be an issue, unfortunately.
And when that issue happens, that's when if you've got kids, you lose access to the kids. You're not living in the house anymore. And then what do you end up doing? You just say, look, my life is messed up.
Yeah.
Let me just.
You end up going to the booze. Some weaker men will end up going to drugs.
Yeah.
And that's it. You fall down a rabbit hole and you can't get out of it.
Can't get out of it. So I think it's something which we'll continue to discuss. We wanted to bring it as our initial starting point. There's more discussions to this about men's mental health. And obviously we also respect our lovely women and their mental health struggles, but we know women have got a bigger support system all around them through friends, cousins, aunts, and, they can share. They really open up and share. But I think it's to encourage men to find a space where you can feel comfortable just unloading. I think unloading takes a lot of pressure from the head, and then you're a better person.
Yeah. Just on the side note, the was this skit. I don't remember, but it was more of an African skit where two people went into the police station to report domestic violence. So that was the husband and wife going into the police station. We want to report domestic violence. And the police straight away took the man and put him in cuffs to say, okay, what did he do? And then on the flip side, they said, no. The wife.
He's the one who bit.
We've lost Joe there.
We've lost Joe. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think, Joe, and he's been traveling, so he's been on a remote area. So I think we've lost him with the network. But that was an interesting discussion. It's something which we'll continue on in the next few episodes about men's health, mental health in general, about protecting one's mental health, whether male, female, parents, grandparents, husbands, wives, children. I think it's something which we'll need to delve in as we end 2023 and start 2024. 2024 may be a very, very challenging year, particularly what's going to be happening in the West and what's currently happening in the East. In the West, we've got a very volatile election, which is coming up in the United States, particularly with Trump and all these charges. If they arrest him, we don't know what will happen with his MAGA supporters who are a bit radical at times. So,
but I just to interject there, I think if they arrest Trump, then they're really going for that African politics menu.
Yeah.
And it will be quite interesting to note that the West is now going African. It will be quite interesting.
It will be a point of discussion. So I think let's see how it goes. So I think 2024 is a year where mental health and one's mental health is very paramount in 2024. So thank you. We've lost Joe at the last when he was sharing a very funny story. We'll bring him back in our next episode of Amagents. Tinas, thank you so much. Have a beautiful week and let's keep in touch.
Awesome, Janice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.